Welcome to the second hour of News and Views on Salam Media. It is exactly 11 after 9 o'clock. We're now going to be joined by Kwena Molekwa. She's a social media influencer, and we're going to be talking about a very, very sticky issue. And that, of course, is the big question. Are illegal immigrants a burden to South Africa? Let me just share something with you that Fikile Mbalula has tweeted a little while ago. He says illegal immigrants put a heavy strain on the fiscal with adverse effects on the health sector, and also contribute to high unemployment rate and poverty in South Africa. Kwena Molekwa, social influencer, a very good morning to you. Welcome to the program. And this is a really, really heavy question, a big issue as far as South Africa is concerned. What is the feeling on the ground? How are people responding to these type of utterances? Are illegal immigrants really a burden to South Africa?
Good morning to you and your listeners, and thank you for having me. I believe that illegal immigrants are indeed constraints towards South Africa because I think for the longest time, we've been speaking about this issue of having a country where its laws are not respected by people that want to come to South Africa, and merely just having a passport inside to have to come to South Africa, it doesn't qualify one to actually, be competing for jobs in South Africa. And illegal foreigners are taking what is known as entry level jobs, the jobs that are supposed to be helping South Africa to actually develop skills. Development, because of we do have this problem of that is said by government and academias that skills transfer or skills shortage in the country is there. So if illegal foreigners are here and they are used as modern slaves in South Africa, exploited by so-called companies, and you have seen even companies like Hawaii, for some weird reason, a big company like that in employing people on entry level jobs and hiring non-South Africans. It had about 97% of people that are non-South Africans. So that says a lot about our country, and it says a lot how the ANC has managed the country. So it's quite strange to actually even see the ANC today stepping into this conversation of illegal foreigners, because for the longest time we did want to actually engage them over these issues, and they were hell bent on just pronouncing us to be xenophobic, and it's a problem. It's a problem given the high unemployment that we do have in the country of young people, actually.
Okay, you're a social influencer, and undoubtedly you raise this issue from time to time. What sort of response are you getting from ordinary South Africans regarding this matter?
I think, as a social influencer, I actually get a lot of South Africans coming to me with various information actually kept, going forth and, exposing certain things that are happening within various communities, not Limpopo primarily or Gauteng. It doesn't matter. Even in Bloemfontein, I would actually, get people that are coming forward to say, Kwena, this is what we're experiencing on the ground. We are having so much issues, and nothing is done by government. And I try my level best actually as an individual to actually talk to different government departments and whatever, but then the hell bent that the ANC has shown, or the attitude that they have been giving us, that we are being xenophobic, instead of looking at our country's immigration policies and the labor laws that we do have. And especially when we talk about Employment Equity Act of 2004, that speaks about hiring a non-South African in a place where South African can do their job. That is illegal on its own, and nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about the laws in South Africa, and the same laws are actually somehow utilized to what I would say to silence South Africans with this whole xenophobia issue. And it's problematic to just want to talk about these issues, and I'm willing to listen to through, but it's a problem to actually come to to media spaces and then be called xenophobic, where else people are not actually looking at the laws of the country, and it's a problem, that thing.
So people might argue that back in the dark days of apartheid, The other, our neighbors, our neighboring countries gave refuge to South African activists, and it's now payback time. We need to welcome people and allow them the opportunities and a safe haven. How do you respond to something like that?
I would usually say, because I usually get that kind of question, especially even on social media, or on X, what is known as former Twitter. What I would actually say is that one thing for sure, it's that, I mean, if you go to Angola, you go to Tanzania, you go to Zambia, the people that were there were soldiers, and they were kept in camps. Not necessarily that we are disputing that we do have a responsibility as South Africa to look at migrants, but migrants in South Africa, or refugees and asylum seekers, have abused our system, because the international law is quite clear that, when you are an asylum seeker or a refugee inside a country, you can't go back to the country that you say that you are claiming that you are running away from. They are already contravening those laws that are governing and that are putting them in the first place to be in South Africa. And yes, we're not going to put people in camps to say that, but the integration that we've been having in South Africa has failed us in such a way that, we had influx of foreigners, and we can't even account for anyone inside the country. Some people are here for over 20 years. You'd find that the person once just came inside South Africa with a visitor's visa, and since that time, they've taken advantage that, the 60 days permit. After that, they are just, laundering inside South Africa, roaming around South Africa. Nobody knows which country they are coming from or where they are staying, all those kind of things. So, yes, we do have a responsibility, but the responsibility should not be to undermine the laws of South Africa, and should not be in a way that, it displaces South Africans out of the economic sector or the work sector inside this country. And that's what we've been seeing. And it's quite, actually, that's the reason why, in Black communities you do find this kind of issues. I mean, you look at this deep slew today, and over the years what it has become. When you go to Black communities, this kind of issues, I would say that, it's giving the Afrophobic notions that people want to display a role, because of people are not listening to what ordinary South Africans are saying. And the ordinary South Africans are the ones that open this country for people to say, no, come into our country. They are our brothers and all those kind of things. But then today we living with these people that we don't know what to think of them anymore, because of we can't even relate with them in the way that we open this country towards and say they are vulnerable. Now it's like, it's us against them, and it's becoming a problem, and it's growing and it's growing.
Kwena, and I'm going to keep reiterating the fact that you are a social influencer. So whatever you put out there has a huge impact, sometimes positively, sometimes very negatively. And this is really quite a serious matter that you and I are talking about this morning. And undoubtedly, we're going to get hundreds of thousands of views when you put this out on your different platforms. What do you believe? You are saying government's not hearing the cries of ordinary South Africans. We open our arms and our hearts to illegal immigrants or asylum seekers in the past. They've gone on, they've lived here, they've intermarried, they have children, their children are now naturalized South Africans. What do you believe is the solution? We can't repatriate them because if they're asylum seekers, where do they go to, as you have said? Let's just look at the UK's position in the previous administration, where Suella Braverman had suggested that illegal immigrants in that country get settled in Rwanda at a huge cost to the UK government. They paid huge sums of money to Rwanda to accommodate illegal immigrants from all around the world, not only African immigrants, Middle Eastern immigrants, Eastern immigrants as well. That fell through with the new government in the UK. They're not going to be looking at that at all. The new Home Secretary in the UK has said that they'll use all of that money rather to strengthen their borders. We have a huge problem with porous borders, and we also know that officials manning our borders are very susceptible to bribes. What do we do?
I believe that, naturally the situation in South Africa, it starts with the borders. One, and then it's gonna go to Home Affairs. The issues of backlog in Home Affairs, it's something that has been there for over a decade. It's been there since, I even think, before Malusi Gigaba was the Minister of Home Affairs. So we need to actually have systems in place, and necessarily I don't believe that you can fight illegal immigration when you are not enforcing the law on the ground. So the issues that we do have, and the reason why we are a destination for even drug dealers from Brazil. I think the story today is making rounds since yesterday. The man came with over like 4 million drugs. That tells you a lot, because that person was just going to come through OR Tambo and think that they're gonna walk out of the airport. Do you understand? So the issue is not even just there. The issue it's law enforcement in South Africa. We have porous borders that are created by the ANC from the beginning, because of the ANC did take certain money from the UN to actually implement certain development stability programs that they have agreed over. So we do have porous borders, but the porous borders need to be something that is fixed. And unfortunately, what the border management that is now actually, President Ramaphosa has placed is not doing enough, and is not actually even on the ground, because of they are on the main entrance of the country, but in the illegal portraits of the country where people enter, they are not there. And it's becoming a problem to actually even just keep on talking about the national security threat that we are imposed as South Africa. And it's quite dangerous that we don't even know who's coming in through what border. But I do know, for example, I think I've tweeted about this issue of Mozambique and Lesotho being used by serious criminals to come inside South Africa, and the government is not doing anything. Intelligence is not doing anything to stop those people, because of they are coming in with different guns. They are coming in with different machinery. And we have seen again in the Eastern Cape, where somebody just landed their plane out of nowhere. We don't even know who that person is, and they came here with their visitors, and Home Affairs did nothing. So it's a worry factor that we would want to address these issues of illegal immigrants and asylum seekers as humanly as possible. But at the same time, it needs us to put harsh measures inside before we can even probably start to actually be lenient towards certain things. But at this moment where we are, at the rate that we are in South Africa, we need to be harsh. And being harsh starts within the borders itself, and starts within the police doing what they're supposed to do, necessarily arresting somebody for being illegal in the country. Do I believe in deportation in this moment? No, I don't believe deportation in this moment would do so much inside South Africa at this moment, because of we do have porous borders, and if porous borders are not addressed, then we are not going anywhere.
Okay, the issue around that a plane landing in the Eastern Cape. I don't think it was illegal immigrants. It was a royal family from the Middle East, and they had come here, I think, to look at some sort of investment opportunities. I tried to follow that story for a while. I didn't see what had happened at the end, but it was a very wealthy royal family from the Middle East. So hoping they brought a lot of we're hoping that they came here to scout the country, and hopefully there'll
No,
be
you see why I
opportunities.
say that we need
It
communication from
yes,
government. They could have
yes,
just enlightened South
absolutely,
Africans and just said they
absolutely.
are investors, they are doing one, two,
Yes.
and three, and that would have solved
Okay.
the problem.
Okay. So there you have it. Now you know why they were here and who they were. Uh, you make a very strong point regarding the Brazilian national. I have a picture of it from, of course, it's something you posted, and I have it here in front of me. It's unbelievable. I can't believe what I'm looking at here. He's had all of these drugs taped all around his body. And he tried, obviously, to get into OR Tambo. And these are the horror stories. This is a daily occurrence in our country where you have all of these gun and drug smugglers. We'd never had this problem 20, 30 years ago. And drugs is running rife in our country and really creating a whole host of a lost generation by creating a lot of drug dependent youth. This is due to, as we know, they being unemployed and maybe drowning their sorrows or hoping they end up becoming peddlers, merchants, and whatever have you. You also have suggested that we can't take very harsh measures. We need to show our humanity and empathy towards these people. Apart from the drug dealers and the gun peddlers, we need to go down on them very, very hard. But for other illegal immigrants, what I worry about is when word goes out in the streets about them taking our jobs, about illegal immigrants creating a burden on health facilities, schooling, etc., that this might just might spark a xenophobic action around the country. How do we still put out a strong message without creating xenophobia?
Like I wish that every day when we were interacting, especially with people in the media, because I think it's our responsibility as social activists, as the media, and everybody that is involved in South Africa. But to just merely show this attitude that has been shown, and South Africans are feeling that, they are sidelined by the media and they are sidelined by politicians, and there is this, notions that we are xenophobic and whatever. So those are the things that I think are counter to actually redressing these things correctly, and pleading to South Africans to say, let's show our ubuntu and let's show our humanity towards this situation, and understand that people are coming here for different sort of reasons, and for survival purposes, and some are actually here indeed because of whatever countries they come from, maybe because they are gays and they can't live inside those countries because of they will end up being killed for their sexuality. So those are the things that I feel like, if ordinarily and in the beginning, the society itself and the broader society, which is the media and politicians, were actually showing empathy towards South Africans to show that we do understand where you are coming from and what you are actually saying. I think it would have played a very big role into calming the anger of South Africans towards migrants. But now we have the situations where is now when you go to certain communities, it's migrants versus South Africans, and that's how sometimes even myself I get to be in such situations where now I have to be harsh towards people to say, no, I believe in this. And sometimes it's not the most one way to say I would appropriately want to address these issues over, but then you get pushed around in such a way that migrants feel like we I don't know, they can just merely defend themselves with just saying we like you are xenophobic. And like I was saying to you earlier on, that a passport alone does not actually imply that a person can work in South Africa. One needs to apply for a permit inside South Africa and actually say what kind of skills they are bringing inside the country, because you can't just have people that are coming here that are not going to contribute to the economic value of South Africa. So the problem has been that, in South Africa, that, we are having migrants that are doing what is known as entry level jobs in different sectors, starting from hospitality, going to agriculture. And I think you have seen what happened in the Cape wines, Robertson wine, when, the Lesotho people and Zimbabweans were fighting over jobs, and that was not even including South Africans, which is quite bizarre. So those are the issues that I feel like maybe if the president could step into having an honest dialogue about immigration with the country itself and the broader society of South Africa, then I think we would find solutions that are suitable to South Africans, and how South Africans would say that, in the first place, that we were welcoming to the same people. I think that we would actually quite be lenient towards them and say, no, they can stay, they can do what. This is how we want you guys to deal with immigration. This is how we view integration of immigrants should have been done. Because the issue that are always raising the spark again is this issue of having people inside the country that have been here for over 10 years. They have now citizenships, but they are not integrated to being South Africans. They are not proud to be South Africans. They don't identify themselves to be South Africans. So those kind of issues, they quite heartwarming, actually. I mean, I can't welcome you to my home, and I think that I'm integrating you to be part of my society and to be part of me. And then tomorrow you look at me and you are like, no, I don't want to be South Africans. South Africans are stupid and whatever. So those kind of narratives that, labels that people just throw out, sometimes they do more damage than actually having to get South Africans to have the conversation that is actually more needed to be done.
And that's where we're going to leave it. We will talk with you again sometime in the future and see what sort of responses you've had to this and other posts that you've put out on your different platforms. Thank you for your thoughts, and it was really wonderful talking with you. So go well.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you for having me, and do enjoy the rest of your day, and good day to your listeners.
Okay, that was, of course, social influencer talking to us about the issue on illegal immigrants in South Africa and how it's impacting on our economy big time. Undoubtedly, like I said, we'll have more of these conversations going forward. It is exactly 9:33. News and views moving along, and we now have Herman Mashaba standing by to talk with us about latest developments here in Gauteng province.